from PA Hydroponics in York Springs, Pennsylvania, and we also have a store in Maryland called All Good Garden Supply. For anywhere near our stores, try to make a trip out. We'd like to see you in person. Today we're talking about Rockwool. I got some seeds started, and it's time to get them transferred into some big Rockwool blocks. And Rockwool needs to be pre-treated, which we're going to go over all that today. Rockwool is made out of molten rock that's spun into little tiny threads. It's similar to insulation in your attic, but it's really not really the same. I wouldn't suggest trying to use insulation to grow as Rockwool. These things are very lightweight, there's not much to them, and naturally they are a pH of 8. And when you buy Rockwool, Grodan Rockwool, there's instructions in every pack you buy that talks about the pH of these. They don't mention why you have to adjust the pH. It's because they're 8, and your plants aren't going to like that. Your plants need to be around 6. So they come in all different sizes. These are the starter sheets. These little pieces break off, and then they fit into the bigger sizes later on. So Grodan makes this cool little tray. It's called the Smart Tray. This thing, you can either put these in there, or you can actually put it upside down and put your blocks on top of it. It's pretty cool. I prefer myself actually not starting seeds in the Rockwool. A lot of people do all over the earth, so you figure out what's good for you. I prefer starting them in the root riot plugs. These are little sponges. These you don't have to mess with the pH, and Rockwool pretty much holds a ton of water. So I've just had problems myself with things rotting seeds and stuff. But these also still fit into these, so that's what I'm doing here today. These are my little babies here. We did a whole series on seed starting, so if you want to learn about all the different ways to start seeds, click up here somewhere and you can find it on one of our other videos. So what we're going to have to do first is get the water ready. I got a couple buckets here. We're going to be putting this into a flood and drain system, which we're going to be doing a video for that too, to show you how that works. And I got 2 5-gallon buckets here. I got about 4 gallons of water each. These, once you drop them in here, they suck water in, so you don't have to worry about overflowing the bucket when you put these in. And when you pull them out at the end, you're going to see your water level really drop down because they're just loaded with water. Rockwool's great in hydro because it doesn't fall apart and clog up pumps, so it stays together, and the plants tend to like them. They can work really well if done right. For this, what we're going to do with the water first is pretty much the main thing is pHing the water. Seeds come with everything you need for the first couple weeks of life. My seeds are already going, so they're going to need a little bit of food. So we're going to also add a little bit of just grow formula in here to infuse into the blocks. It's not real important because your nutrient solution in your reservoir is going to really flush these out and get them going better anyway with your food. So first thing I'm going to do is we're going to use a little bit. This time I'm just using some of the store samples. We've got a Fox Farm Grow Big here. I'm just going to do a teaspoon per gallon on that. So each one of these got about 4 gallons of water. So there's 4 for that one. Yeah, 4 teaspoons. We're also going to add some Rapid Start. This is made by GH. There's other versions of this like Roots Accelerator. There's beneficial bacteria you can put in here. There's lots of things you can infuse your blocks with. I'm just keeping it simple today. So this stuff is a teaspoon for 5 gallons. So I'm just going to do a teaspoon in each bucket and call it a day. You always want to put your food in first before you adjust your pH, because your food can change your pH. If you look up top again, you'll see a video on pH. We did a whole video on pH and pH pens, so go back and check that out. And don't forget to follow us. Alright, so that's going to help get the roots going a lot quicker. Pretty much the faster your roots grow, the faster the plant's going to grow. This is also another great one that I usually use in this, but I don't have an open bottle right now. Clonex clone solution, great to get plants going with. And Clonex, if you're gonna send me some free samples, that would be cool. All right, so we got the food in there. We're going to give it a quick swirl here, mix it up a little bit, and then we're going to check our pH. The pH is the main thing you got to worry about, really, because your reservoir is going to be giving all this food once it starts, whatever system you got, drip system, flood and drain, rails. So we want to get the pH from 8 down to 6. And on the directions on all these blocks, it says adjust your water to 5.5. So right now with my handy dandy pH pen, I got 6.3. So if you haven't messed around with pH up and down, this stuff's very strong. So a teaspoon goes a long ways. I'm going to start out with 1.5 teaspoons in here and see what happens. Alright, that brought it down to about 6.3, so I'm aiming for 5.5 on here, which that should balance them out. Alright, so 2 more teaspoons in there and see what that does. It's going down slow today. We're down at 6.1. It's always better to add your pH down or up in slow increments, because once you go too far, then you're going to have to go add the up back in. So that's 2 more teaspoons. Alright, we're down at 5.8, so we're getting there. Taking a little bit longer than I thought here. I know some people have said our videos are too long, but many other people said they're glad that we take our time with things and explain things the right way. So there we go. 5.6. That's close enough for me on that one. Alright, so I know I'm going to need at least 4 teaspoons, so we're going to go ahead and do that right away. Then we'll add up what we need to the rest. When you soak your Rockwool, you're going to want to let it sit in there for at least a good few hours for the smaller size blocks. The big Yugo blocks for the mamas, just do a full 24 hours in them. And that way your pH is adjusted. So think about that ahead of time when you know you got a transplant to get these blocks ready. Hydrodynamics International also makes Rockwool conditioning solution. That's another one you could try out. Okay, getting there. This is 5.7, so I'm just gonna add one little bit more tube of that, and that little pipette I'm using on my pH, make sure you don't go sticking that in anything else. Just have dedicated pipettes for your pH. Okay, 5.6. That's close enough. I don't want to keep adding more and more. So, all right. So the water is ready. And I'm going to go ahead and start soaking these in there. They'll float, but then they'll sink on down, and then they'll be very heavy. We're using a 4x4 blocks for this. Should work out pretty good. It's gonna end up in our big ebb and flow system, which we just did our latest video on that system. And we're doing county fair zinnias in there this winter. Figure I'd do something different. Every year we do something different in our store displays in the winter time. So we've done all kinds of stuff in here. The Grodan Rockwool comes in a coating here. This is to keep light from hitting the outside walls. Some people, you know, if you are putting this into like flood and drain system, you would leave that on there for the rest of the grow. we're going to be transplanting it into a hydro system, and it's going to be buried in the clay rocks. So when I go to do the final transplant, we'll be cutting this off. So it just comes right off. So this one has lost its wrap. Other than that, that's about all you have to do to prep it. So these are soaking after a few hours. I'm probably going to just put them on a tray and let them drain the excess water off, and then they're ready to have our starter plugs inserted in. I'm going to use a bit of probably a little bit of beneficial bacteria powder in that hole there to really help get the roots going good. And that's going to be in a flood drain system. Stop back and see that. We're going to be doing that very soon. Thanks for watching. I'm Gary from PA Hydroponics in York Springs, PA. And come and see us. Have a good one.